What's going on? I just am discovering this that the tribe of Gad, one of their characteristics as well was to be a stock of Nazarites and prophets. And if you study the Geronimo story, there's only basically the warrior camp and which is everyone that has to go to warrior camp, and then there's also holy man camp, and that's only for special, only people who have the gift from God. The elders are supposed to watch them and see who has the gift, and they're supposed to take him into the Meadowin, you know what I'm saying, after but this tradition has been ended, and just because maybe at one time it was a Nazarite thing, it's a lot of it has been corrupted and lost through. It said basically the Catholics who came over here basically taught the Indians alchemy. So alchemy got fused into the Indian religion because that's the way it's translated into the white, and then that got re-filtered back to the Indians, kind of as the same way the pagans now, the Celts and the witches and the Satanists all use all the Indians' traditions to help aid in their spirit ceremonies. You know what I'm saying? Because it's in Jubilees, man, that there were certain members of the tribe, and the same thing. It's in the Bible too. It talks about look, for the priest, if a priest thought about anything other than serving God while he was in service, he basically dropped dead on the spot. Same thing, there's lesser deities, there's demon gods of old, which they were left here to serve man, the healers. So if the healer keeps his heart pure, even if he speaks to demons to get knowledge of how to heal, the demon shouldn't be able to take a foothold in him. But if the man has sin, he is susceptible to the demon tricking him. You know what I'm saying? And that's only in Jubilees, and it might be addressed in Jasher maybe too, but I'm sure it's in Jubilees, which is called the Book of Little Genesis. Yeah, basically, yeah, there's two camps in Indian society. There's the warrior camp, and then there's the holy men camps. And only a very small portion of the people have the natural inkling to become a real holy man for a tribe. Because this guy has to, in a way, keep himself clean from regular life and the normal sin of life in order to have an open communication with God. And the gift of prophecy was definitely in the Indians. There was the Chippewas and Ojibwas. This guy had a dream that there was someone here and to go down this river and make this long journey, and this guy did it, and at the end of the journey he started seeing cut down trees that he never saw before, and he kept going, and then he seen houses with smoke coming out of the chimney, and they gave him guns, tomahawks, and liquor. You know what I'm saying? And when liquor first got to the Indians, they thought it was poison. They thought it was so there was an old woman who was dying, and they gave her the liquor and let her drink it to test it, and then all of a sudden she was in ecstasy and she forgot she was dying and she was happy, and then they started passing around the bottle, and it was a wrap after that. That's how alcohol hit the Indians. And once again, it's like the reason why Indians had not as much hair is because they lived a Nazarite tradition, which is there's a lot of hair customs when it comes to Nazarites, like pulling out your hair, having even the hair on the feet, the hands, it's like these guys targeted the hair for so many generations that they started to not grow it anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that's a Nazarite thing there. The anointings, fastings, prayers, sacrifices, and not even though there was human sacrificing going on, but that was because anyone related to who traded with the Mayans, they learned their sacrificial customs. And we had war customs of blood for blood. Whatever you do to us, we do it back. So if the enemy does something really cruel and horrible, you do it back to him. And it's also biblical to hack people up into tiny pieces. I mean, like, listen, that's a biblical custom. Another thing, taking skins from the enemy. David had to get 200 of them, or 100, but he brought 200. So you can't say that the Indians were totally fucking just blood crazed savages when your own scriptures, the heroes of your own scriptures, bear witness against what your thoughts there. But there was a guy named Tecumseh had a brother named Ten Bears, and he had the spirit of prophecy, but he cursed the American government. It's called the 0-year curse, and all these different presidents died on a 0 year. Supposedly Ronald Reagan's astrologer broke the curse somehow, but I'm pretty sure I seen a video where it said that Gad the Ninth's son had the gift of prophecy. So yeah, that is I'm gonna have to agree. I've read that, and just in my family as well, there's a lot of prophetic dreams, like not necessarily nothing biblical, but like having a bad feeling about someone and they go to jail, or or have a bad dream about someone and they get in a car wreck. I had a dream, man, where the police was coming from every direction, and then the next week the police ran up on me while I was just in the yard because the neighbor called the fucking cops on me because they do know who I was. Damn well they know who I was, because I was out doing Tai Chi on my basketball court. You know what I'm saying? In their own yard, and the police ran up on me. I didn't have my ID on me or something, and I had a old warrant, and they took me to jail for it. So, stuff like that. That has been stuff that's been in the family. And another thing, the belief in spirits of magic, witchcraft, aliens, ghosts and graveyards, and Indian medicine men be able to talk to animals. Like, look, this stuff was definitely in my house growing up, man. With my grandma, she taught me a lot of stuff. She also entertained the Bible literally, saying there was giants in the earth in those days. I heard that when I was so young. You know what I'm saying? So there's that being supernaturally and spiritually awake comes natural to our culture, to that ethnic group, because but they downplay the realness of it in the Bible, to where like you would look at people and think, oh, they're just simple and superstitious, when it's like, no, you're not very spiritual at all, because you give no credit to the word when it says people are possessed, when it says that there's demons, there's the devil, there's angels, there's miracles, there's healings, there's prophecies, there's dreams and prophetic utterances. And you people really don't believe that. You say you believe God and Jesus and or whatever you want to call them with all your heart, but then you deny the spiritual. You deny the spiritual. And look, God's power manifests spiritually. It will manifest in the physical, but before it even ever manifests in the physical, it moves in the spirit. And that's just, the physical goes after the spirit. I mean, before the spirit. The physical is after the spirit. The spiritual things are in all actuality what's animating the physical reality things. So some people put eminence over the physical things, when in all actuality we should reverence the spiritual things, the non-physical things, because those are the forces that animate everything that we can see. And it's just fucking, it's self-evident and apparent that these things are so. And then you look at like microscope pictures of living beings. There's electrical current in people. There's electric current in plants and heat signature. So that you're seeing the non-physical. You can't see the heat that someone's got. You can't necessarily. There may be ways you can see their electricity, like when they get a static shock from a finger from rubbing the feet across the carpet. You know what I'm saying? You might see a little spark, but that's no more than that. But yet it's invisible, but it's there. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same way that the spirit world you can get a message in the spirit world that pertains to the physical world, because our physical world is actually the fake world, and the spirit world is the real world. When it would seem almost like when you're in the spirit world, it's the fake world, it's the abstract world, it's the lucid world. But in all actuality, this is the illusionary world. But yet, everything, all your senses are telling you the opposite. And that's why you can't walk and judge things with your sight or the things that you hear. You got to always use the spirit, supernatural discernment, and test the spirit. See if it be a God of God or not. You know, in all things. Because there's spiritual factors behind everything in a way. Because there's influences. And you can be aware of these influences and the roots, the origins, or the influences. There's three places influences come from. You got the devil and his kingdom, you got the God and the angels, and then you got mankind himself. Basically, God and the angels and the devil and all them, that's a supernatural realm that these things live in, but their emissaries are people, just like the ministers of God are people, and just like the spirits of the Antichrist, those are people that are possessed by that spirit on the earth. They're representatives of that spirit on the earth, and it goes both ways. And then you got your Gnostic humanistic belief, and those guys give no credence either way, to the right or the left. You know what I'm saying? But that's a bad place to be in too, because you're denying the more real thing and then you're clinging to this illusionary reality. I'm telling you, man, if you ain't feeling Toontown yet, just wait until you learn some more stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then they crank up that frickin' CERN machine some more. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just for real, Toontown, man. Roger Rabbit.